Hi there, this is Malay. Welcome to my channel. Well, in this video, we will resume the Excel.NET implementation in the Power Automate desktop. So let's get started. In the previous video, we saw how to get started with the prerequisites for implementing Excel.NET in the Visual Studio as well as in the Power Automate desktop. So if you're not gone through the previous video, I will leave the link in the description. You can go and watch the video and then can resume from here. Now in this example, we will start with a very simple basic case to add the column in the beginning of an Excel file. We will then add the header of that column and then we will fill in the serial number of the column based on the total number of rows that we have in the Excel. So let's get started. Now before we work with all the code, make sure that you have the references of the Excel application, the Excel itself, then the Excel workbook, the Excel file, and the Excel worksheet, the worksheet for which we want to work on, and the range of cells that we want to work on. So let's first declare all these objects. Now we have all these objects, let's try to open the workbook. In this case, first we will need to instantiate the application. So in this case, we will say Excel applications is equals to new application. And then if you want to have the Excel visible, then you can set it to true. Or if you want the Excel to work behind the scene where the Excel is not visible, you can simply keep it false. Now in many times you might see some of the alerts that's coming in when you're performing these operations. You can set the alerts also to false just to make sure that ultimately if you are running the PAD in the unattended mode, we want to make sure that we don't have any other alerts when you're executing the script. Now that we have the applications available, let's also declare the file which we will be working on. So first, let's go with the file path. Let's open the file that we want to work with. We will be working with the sample1 file and we don't have a serial number here. So what we will be doing is we'll be adding a serial number column at the beginning. We will set the header as a serial number, just like how we have the other headers here. And then we will count the number of rows, and accordingly we will add the numbers like 1, 2, 3, the serial number into that column. So let's get started. Let's close this for now. I'll grab the file path by going copy as path and then put it here. So now we have the file path. Let's just give it double slash. All good here. Now let's go ahead and open the Excel workbook. So Excel application, then we go with Excel workbook, workbooks.open. And in this case, we will specify the file path. And this will be the instance of the workbook. So that is our workbook. Now we have the Excel workbook in our hand. Now, after the workbook, let's get a handle on the Excel worksheet of the workbook. So in this case, we will go with the worksheets and that will have default first worksheet. That's why I'm just providing one. And let's just copy the worksheet. Let's copy it here. All good. Now that we have the worksheet, let's go ahead and add the column. Now let's first get the handle on the A column. So the way we will specify here is we will specify the range, which is A1. Then we will take the entire column and then we will go and insert the column there. So let's specify the insert. Now after insert, you definitely want to shift the column to the right. So let's go and specify the shift option. The way we specify is you get the entire object dot Excel insert shift direction dot Excel shift to right. That will ensure that we are able to add the column before A1. Now after this, we definitely want to set the header. So now what we can do is we can specify the worksheet dot cells and the first row and the first column. That's the header of the row. So we'll specify serial number. Now let's go ahead and get the range of the data that we already have here so that we know which one is the last empty row and last empty cell. so that we can fill in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 till the last available row in the sheet. So the way we can do it is, that's the range that we are defining, so it's a range. So we'll go with worksheet dot cells dot special cells, and in this we're going to be defining the Excel cell type dot Excel cell type dot last cell, and then we will say type dot missing. That's gonna give us the last used cell as a part of a range. So now you can define, that's called, let's say, last row index equals to Excel range dot row. That's our last used row. So in this case, now let's define a new range which is called the, let's say we call fill range, and that is our worksheet dot range A2 to A last row index. So now we have the range which we want to fill in. Now in this case, let's go ahead and iterate through this range. Each range cell in fill range, because each cell we are iterating and setting. So cell dot value 2 equals to, and let's define the index that starts with 1. So we'll say index, and then we will increment the index next time so that it will be 2, 3, 4. And then once that is done, it's time to save the workbook. So you can dot save. Also, let's make sure once that is saved, just make sure that in the finally block, because it's a Visual Studio, we go ahead and close it, and app dot quit, we also quit the Excel application. Also you set them to null, just to make sure that there is no memory issues, there is no object lying in the memory for the Excel. Now this seems to be all good, so it's time to debug the code. You can put a breakpoint here, make sure that the file is not open, otherwise it will be in the read only. So keep it closed and let's run this, and we'll debug and see how it goes. So it started debug, there we have it. You can go and press F10 to move to the, so it's visible for. Now we are opening the file, we are inserting the A1 column, which we are getting a, let's go and see the last row index, which is 10, which is correct. Let's go then 4 and so on. Let's keep the breakpoint here. Let's continue. It's saved. Now we are into Power Automate Desktop, run .NET script. From the previous video, we know that we already have loaded the DLL folder and the required configuration is all set. We are good to write the code. Let's go and grab the code from our example. Let's go all the way up. First, let's declare all these. Let's copy that, maximize this, put it here. You can keep entering to get some more real estate. Let's just make sure that we are putting everything in the same line. Grab all the code. Let's paste it. Scroll down and finally make sure that you release all the other objects. Let's grab that code. Grab this, put it here. Now let us also get the file from the variable. So instead of hard coding, let's go and get the variable. So use set variable, and there let's define var file path. That, put it over here, click on save, click on edit. Now what we can do here is, instead of this hard-coded path, you can click on X and search for the var path, and we want to make sure that we are putting this into the double quote. So grab this, remove this and put the variable here. And what we also want is, we want to declare the output variable to know that our script execution is successful. So let's go and edit this script parameter. Click on plus sign. You will see for success. It's going to be string it is the output variable, and what you can do is you can provide the same name as the output variable. Click on done. In this case, go ahead and after all the code is executed, entire code is executed, you can simply set the value of var success equals to success. Click on save. Let's go and hit run. Let's make sure that we close the file. We don't have the column now. Let's close the file. Let's run and let's observe the change. Now you may encounter an error like this. We need to make sure that we also cast certain objects so that the PID can recognize. The Visual Studio is able to recognize, but PID cannot. So we need to make sure that we address it. It says it cannot implicitly convert the type in the line number 19. So let's open line number 19. And line number 19 is the worksheet. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we cast it properly with this. We need to provide the worksheet, and that is going to be the Microsoft Office Interop Excel.worksheet. So I just provide this and make sure that you have semicolon towards the end of every line that we want to execute. That is the requirement. Click on save. Let's click run and again see whether we are all good or not. Again, it started executing the script. It has executed successfully. You can see the timestamp has changed. Let's open the sample one. And you can see we successfully were able to insert the column, set the header, and set the cell values in the sequence. And you can see that the var success variable is also produced as the correct output success. You can use the var success also in the subsequent actions to validate the outcome. So I hope this example helps you to get started with leveraging the Excel.net and performing simple operations. In the next video, we will see how can we go a little more complex and work with some filters, filtered data, and some other data manipulation using Excel.net and using the PAD. I thank you so much for watching this video.